Hi, Morgan Freeman here. I want to talk to you about a serious rare heart condition called ATTR cardiac amyloidosis, or ATTR-CM. Now, I don't have the condition myself, but if you're living with ATTR-CM, it's important to know about treatment options like Attruby, also known as acoramidis, because you have the power of choice when it comes to treatment. Attruby is an old medicine used to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization due to heart issues. Tell your doctor if you're pregnant, plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding, and about the medications you take. The most common side effects were mild and included diarrhea and abdominal pain. If you have ATTR-CM, talk to your cardiologist about Attruby or visit attruby.com. That's ATTRUBY.com to learn more. It's time to get busy living.
Hi there. Today we are going to be talking about some Run Disney topics. So for all you triathletes out there, yes, we're runners too. And I'm Jill Bartholomew, host of the Be Fierce and Try podcast. And I'm here today with a new face, Tiffany Galata. And if you want to introduce yourself, Tiff, and tell us all about you.
It's my first podcast, so this is quite an interesting experience for me. I really appreciate you inviting me to come on. So I've done Ironman, I've done 70.3s. I'm a relatively new marathoner, so I've only done 6 marathons over the course of the last 3 years, but I am a 5-time Dopey runner. So this will be goofy for me this year. So this would have been my 5th year doing Dopey at Disney.
See, I love this. And I just want to stop for a second because you said, I'm relatively new to marathoning, I've only finished 6, right? And, as of like a week ago, we now have over 250,000 people listening to this podcast. And most of them may not have ever done a marathon. I have multiple athletes on my own roster right now that are training for their first marathon. I just want to stand back and think like how incredible it is that you can say, I've only done 6.
I've only done 6. Yeah,
right.
So that actually, we were talking about imposter syndrome, and that leads into that imposter syndrome, right? Like,
Absolutely does.
Done.
Yeah, I thought we decided that wasn't going to be the topic for today, but I'm happy to include it, right? Because it's real. And you said this would be Dopey number 5, right?
Yes, but it's goofy instead.
Yeah, I know it's goofy.
Yeah, my coach threatened to fire me if I did another Dopey.
See, I love Dopey. This will be Dopey number 6 or 7, I think, this year. But it was my first Dopey. It was my second marathon. And I have a couple athletes who are like they've done Dopey before, but not been able to finish. Because, people underestimate, like you're doing a 5K, a 10K, a half, and then a full.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, by day 4, I remember the first time I did it. So Dopey was my first marathon other than Ironman. So,
well, come on. For most people, a Ironman marathon is different from a standalone marathon.
It doesn't count. For some reason in my brain, that is not a marathon somehow. Like, it just doesn't count as a marathon.
It is. It's 26.2 full ass miles.
Yeah, whole hard ass miles.
Yes. But that gets me into like Run Disney. I find like a lot of people who sign up for Disney races, and you see this online reflected, I think. So if this weekend follows the past trends, there will be around 40 to 50,000 people signed up across the 4 races, right? Because remember, the 5K is usually around 10,000 runners, but the marathon, in the past has exceeded 20,000. This
one's larger. I mean, not anymore, but it used to be traditionally.
It still is in the U.S. And the weekend as a whole is still in like the top 3 largest run events in the world. Like, it's huge, right? But I think a lot of people, sign up for races at Disney because it's Disney, right? And myself, like, I did my first.
You have to mortgage your home, like second mortgage on your home, just to be able to afford to do them. By the way, I mean,
today, yeah, they've gotten pretty expensive.
I think it was $700 now for all 4, right?
Yeah, Dopey is like $690 or something. Yeah, it's not cheap. But I think that's reflective of too, like, the volunteers now are paid. They're not volunteers
Good.
anymore.
Some of the best volunteers out there are those Disney volunteers.
Right, right. But you remember, I don't know if you did the one at Disneyland the first year back, the photo guys were out there and they weren't very happy about it. And they're like, we were told we're going to be here.
Too long told.
Well, yeah, I mean, and then the same thing with the volunteers, right? They were told they were going to be there, and it's California, so they all got paid for it, but right, but still, I think that transition at Disney World was better than in California because the the employees are all there, but they all still have smiles on their faces. You don't know that they were like voluntold, but anyways, let's talk about. A lot of people sign up for these races thinking that they're easy. It's like,
You're afraid of 10K.
well, and you get back to like Disney's own, logo or catchphrase for Run Disney is every mile is magical. And I got news for you. Every mile is not magical.
No. I'm
The start line
bleeding,
is,
I'm
the finish
crying.
line is, although even the start line, right? It's like any other big race. It like you've done Abbott races, world majors is really similar. Like you're told when your corral is going to go off, what time you need to be in your corral. Most people who want favorable placement get there as early as they can. Right, right. And I'm one of them. And then, hey, I like being right at the start line when the fireworks and the gun goes off.
I mean, I don't blame you. I'm one of the people that roll up and I'm like, oh God, I got to get in. They're closing my corral.
Right. So you're the opposite.
Yeah.
I was reading a post yesterday or 2 days ago, and the post was, I see what times are published. What time does it actually go off? And I said, well, the marathon last year, my start time was listed as 4:30:001 a.m. So they're pretty darn close
They're
to on.
accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty darn close. I think the only times I've seen them delay it is for
Weather.
traffic still being on the road. Yeah, there is weather. There is passing weather.
I will say that people also don't realize that you're giving up 4 days in a row. That marathon, if your gun time is 4:30, you're getting there at 2:40. If you're getting there
2:30.
late like I am. Yeah. And so you're getting up at 1 o'clock in the morning. That first year, got up, sat down on the toilet, and I just started crying. I can't do it again. I can't.
Dopey, the marathon. So they changed it. You remember, like 3 years ago now, they
5:30,
changed the start times and they changed the start locations because the half and the full used to start out on the highway next
one
to
out.
Epcot, right? Which I thought was really cool. It was really well orchestrated, but it was like a 2-mile walk from the buses to get there. The joke was the 5K, and if you're like me and you're in like A or B, it's an even longer walk. The joke was the 5K before the half.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's
Right.
what it was. I ran.
Yeah.
Tim Tryman and I didn't realize how far you had to go, and we had to run. We were literally sprinting that
Yeah.
extra mile to get there.
Yeah, my first half marathon was at Disney, and yeah, we were getting into it. We didn't know. I didn't have proof of time then. I was in like Corral F, which I think that year went to G or H, and so we are like somewhere in the middle. Or today that would be like Corral CD, right? The
Yeah.
big corrals in the middle. It was like the biggest corral, and I was like ended up like somewhere in the middle. But yeah, there was a bit of a hurry to go from that character picture that we were getting to
Yeah.
the
Oh
start
my
line.
God, we're gonna miss it. Yeah, and we were
Right, right.
B, and so we had to move. We literally jumped
Yeah.
a thing to get in there. I'm pretty sure.
But
We'll tell Disney that.
I actually liked those better. Like now it's in the parking lot. So it's the same start that the 5K and 10K have. What I liked about it was if you were in one of the front corrals, you ran the loop on the highway around the outside of Epcot. Right. It was about 10K. And right around the 10K mark, on the opposite side of the highway, you're passing the back corral starting. And so you had the runners hooting and hollering at the folks who haven't started yet. And the folks who were waiting to start hooting and hollering at the faster runners who are now 10K into their race. right? So I always thought that was just a really cool thing, that you see that. Of course, if you're at the back, you don't get to see that. But if you're in like the front third of the race, you probably see that because it takes what, like an hour
Oh,
10 for them to get everyone off. And if you're doing like a 40 to 50-minute 10K, like you're right there, man.
yeah, I'm not. I'm doing a 50 to an hour. And realistically, if you're doing Goofy, I'm doing like an hour solid. Okay, for me or
I
Dopey.
don't know. I don't know. 2 years ago, I did. Was it 2 years ago now? 3? I did Dopey to Dumbo. The first year you could really do that. I PR'd my K and half in Dopey. And then I PR'd my half again in Dumbo.
Oh my
And
god.
then I PR'd my half again at Princess. It was a good year.
That's a good year. That was
That
like
was
a
before the
20.
hamstring damage. Yeah, that
Well,
was a
that's
good year.
why you have him,
It might be. No, I know. No,
right?
no, it was actually Broad Street Run's fault. 10-mile net downhill run where I probably overran. It was my first and only time running under an hour 10 for a 10-miler. That was
I
pretty
mean,
cool.
that's pretty cool.
That was pretty
So,
cool.
have you done any of the big downhill races? Any of no? I know Rach has done them, but I have yet to do any of those. I wanted to do them, but now that they've changed the Boston rules, like
Yeah. That's a whole different conversation as Boston. All
which I'm
right.
doing this year, by the way.
All right. So let's talk about Dopey. Dopey's coming up. And for those so we are recording this on December 17th, which is Wednesday. We are about 3 weeks from the start line, 2.5 weeks from the start line for the 5K at Dopey.
That's crazy.
And just let that sink in. January 7th. So that's 3 weeks from now. January 7th, we will be standing at the Expo Center getting our bibs.
Oh my god.
Right?
How is it here? Or did we just pick up a bib? I feel like you and I were just at an expo together, picking up a Disney bib.
We were.
What was that
And
for?
that was Wine and Dine.
Right, I was sick.
That was Wine and Dine. Yeah, that was a shame. I felt so bad that, you had your bib, everything, and then you ended up not being able to run.
That was awful.
Oh, I would too. But at least you're local, and didn't have to travel to get in. Oh, Expo for Dopey. Expo for Marathon Weekend is something else.
It is ridiculous.
The other expos are all huge. But this one, I'm expecting, if it's like the previous years and ignoring the COVID years where it was kind of dead, right? Remember 2021 Wine and Dine, 2022 Marathon Weekend? The
Quiet.
expo had 4 vendors in there.
And you could hear yourself echoing.
But yeah, and they were limiting the number of people who could go in at any given time and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, the expo, it always feels like they have it so well organized. You come in.
Well-oiled machine.
Yeah, you come in, on merch is on your right, but you walk through the ESPN Center, you get your bibs on the left, you cross the road, go into the big building with the expo floor, get your shirts in the back because, they have to force you to walk through all the vendors. Right. And then we always kind of just take our time through there. It's always fun to see what's out there. There's I forget the name.
And out fast enough. So it's funny because we're so opposite. You're at the front, I'm at the back. I'm like, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Right?
Yeah.
But I'm a Disney person and I live in Florida. So it's not magical for me, right? I understand people coming in. This is their first Disney race. They've spent an exorbitant amount of money to get there. They want to experience all the expos and the merch. And I feel badly for them because all the merch is gone. Those people to come in and buy 75 sweatshirts. And then
I think the 5K roughly is my 70th Disney finish line.
wow.
I've done a lot of Disney runs, and still walking into the ESPN Center is magical.
16th, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. You stand there at the gate when it's opening. So I'm in Club Run Disney. I'm Platinum. I go in. I have to be there well before the buses start running. Get my bibs, do my merch, and then, I stand in line because usually John will be with me. He's running some of the races. And, we still have to get his to stand in line, wait for them to open the gates at 8 or 8:30 or whenever it is. No, it's 10. And like still with all the volunteers, all the ESPN volunteers standing there clapping for everyone and the music, and of course, it's always the same soundtrack, but the only song that like sticks in my head is that one from Cars.
God. Yep.
Yep. It always seems to be the one I hear whether or not it's there. And like you just like get the tingles walking down. It's
That's an
it's
experience.
yeah, it's an experience, and it's like it hits all the core memory buttons.
See, I'm like, how late can I go and not run into anyone? Like, oh, look
Right.
at you with your Run Disney mug over there too, by the way. Right?
I had to pull out my Run Disney mug for a Run Disney conversation.
Right?
I normally have my Iron Man one. It does get better. I can
So
put on my
speaking of Run Disney, by the way, do you see what I've got? I've got a box of Gideon's cookies.
Gideon's
Oh no.
cookies.
You know I can live right by the original.
I
So
know.
for
I know.
those of you who don't know about Gideon's cookies, when you come to Florida, there is a cookie store. There's one on Disney, and then there's one secretly away from Disney near my home that sells half-pound cookies that are
And
like,
one has a 2-hour line and the others walk in.
yeah. I walked in yesterday and bought 8 cookies.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and their holiday cookie this year is white chocolate poppy seed caramel. 8, 2, and 15 minutes. That's a pound of cookie.
And then that was before or after you went and ran a marathon.
This was yesterday, so I ran 5 miles. Yeah, I should have ran
Yeah.
10. Burn that off.
Yeah. So expo is something else.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Do you buy merch though? What are your thoughts on all the merch? I mean, you're a Disney merch person.
I find that the mouse is extremely effective at emptying my wallet. Yeah. So we do the pin thing. So I usually pre-order all the pins, and I'm like the I did it shirts I go back and forth on because I never did it and did the I did it shirts until my son started running the races.
Is he running with you this year? I know he usually does wine and dine.
He usually does wine and dine in springtime, but with he's gotten really, really serious with the cross country at school, and they're in the middle of their winter cross country season. And after him, he had he had a 4-inch splinter in his foot
I remember that.
that we had to have surgically removed. So his cross country season was kind of
So
not
he's excited
great,
to be back.
but he's
Winter.
the way our district kind of runs is the distance runners tend to do summer cross country, winter track, and track. And all 4 years from when they finish their 8th grade year until they graduate, they tend to do that cycle, and there's a couple weeks in between each. And so like the timing, if the endurance event is like at the beginning of their season, it's usually not an issue. But when it's in the middle, then they're missing meets and they're taking time off to recover. And their coaches, and I like this, their coach is pretty conservative on the recovery and getting them back into stuff, which is good, but
Yeah.
it frustrates the kids. So this year he's sitting it out, and he was very upset. He's like, Mom, I want to go to wine and dine, but I can't. And like, how can you give a kid a hard time? On the other hand, in the back of your head, you're like, you're passing up an opportunity to go to Disney, really? Like, who does that?
Adult of you.
I know.
Because I'm not doing it. I'm not passing it up.
I know. How did I teach this child to make such rational decisions? But
We're not making them.
but now we yeah, right.
So how
But
many
now
guys
we do like the pins and sometimes the shirts and the Corsical water bottles. I'm a sucker for those.
You get sucked into it all.
I do. I'm very
I
Disney.
have one shirt. No, I bought Magical Miles, I think. I think I have a Magical Miles t-shirt. And then the shirt that I bought with you at Wine and Dine that has all the Epcot countries on it, which is one of my favorite t-shirts now. I wear it all the time.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you see you got the right size because of me.
I did. I got the right size.
Yes. But now, yeah. Both Iron Man and Disney, I'm very entrenched at this point. I think almost all of my clothes are from one of the two, aside from like real actual work clothes.
Yeah. Well, I'm a sucker for. I luckily was unable to go to Haines City this weekend. I wanted to go support, but I was getting my motorcycle license. But I would have gone and bought a bunch of merch.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So for our listeners, I think we should take away from this is there's a lot of opportunities to spend money at Run
Yeah.
Disney events.
Stay away from
And
it.
like the Run Disney merch, like, you know, I get the jackets a lot. The event jacket, not like the distance jacket, the event one. Because they're usually pretty cute and you
One
know,
for one, I think. So I guess
yeah,
I am a sucker for merch because I have the thing with the sweatshirt, the thing on the across the shoulders, the puffy paint.
with the Spirit jersey.
Well, not only that, I guess for the listeners, what we need to also share is that when you sign up for a Disney race, especially if you do the multiple races, you don't just get one shirt. You get a shirt for each distance, and then you get a shirt for each challenge, and then you get a whole shirt. So when you do Dopey, you get 6 shirts and 6 medals.
That's right. Every
So
medal has a corresponding shirt. The problem with like the freebie shirts is I don't like them. Like,
this year they're better, right? They switched
well,
from Brooks or to Brooks. They switched brand.
so they were champion, and then in 2021 they went to like private label, which I think was a very substantial step down. And then now they're Brooks, except they're like the cheap, scratchy Brooks shirts. They're not like the nice Brooks shirts. So like I actually think they pull easier than the other ones did. The old ones I think were more dye sublimated, where these are they appear to be like vinyl. So I've seen a lot of reports of the vinyl kind of separating from the freebie shirts. So I'll be honest, I have
Sure.
yeah, they're very expensive freebie shirts. I mean, I have a tote at home that has all of my Run Disney freebie shirts in them. And like someday I might like put them together in a quilt, something.
That's what I want to do. I mean, I literally have 2 drawers full. I need to just put them in a bag and
I went to Target and I bought the couple of those, you know, big hefty totes and just
do
started
it that
throwing
way.
all that in because
Smart.
yeah, it was taking up too much space. So, the 5K. What's your feelings on the 5K? I just have to ask.
Well, now they're actually doing timed corrals, right? So I think it's a different
For marathon weekend, they said they were,
it's a time.
but it's unclear if that's only for Dopey participants or if it's for everybody.
Well, I would think that well, that's a good question.
Yeah, because
Because if you're
I
only
hope
running a
it's
5K, you probably don't have a proof of time.
right.
How do you prevent
But I hope it's for everyone because you do see a lot of children in there. And I feel that one, you end up with faster runners who get placed in later corrals. I can think of a couple, like the guy
I
who
think
came
too.
in like third place last year in the 5K ended up in like corral C at Wine and Dine for the 5K. Meanwhile, like 12 months earlier, he was on the podium for it. And, you know, having like little kids up there, like at the front. I don't know if you've ever been like at the front of a Disney race, but it's like the front of any other race.
Yeah.
That first wave of people, they go out, and I will tell you, if you look at the press photos, like I'm in pretty much all of the
Yeah,
Run
'cause I'm in
Disney
belly up,
start
so
line
take it.
press photos from my old speed skating days. Sharp elbows are out, man. It is like I've been taken out. I'm sure I've taken people out at the start line. Like
It's aggressive.
it is aggressive, but it's the
It's also
pointy end.
Disney people.
Well, right, but it's the pointy end of the stick, and like it's like any other race. Like yes, every mile is magic, and in the 5K,
Magically painful.
well, right, but and in the 5K, 2 of the 3 miles are in the park, totally right. So it's great, but that start, you know, the start line is the same width that is at any other race,
It's a 5K.
and you got like 500-600 people, like bam, trying to get over that start line so you can get out on the highway and finally like get settled in.
Open up. But by the time you're opening it up, you're done, right? I mean, because then you're coming
Well,
back through the back end of
you
the
know, that pointy end, my experience is it like the first quarter mile, it's like super crowded. But then the folks who like just took out like a bat out of hell and then burn out, by the time you've reached like the half mile mark, you've got the proper fast people in front, and then everyone else is kind of like self sorting. And, by the time you get into the park at like mile 1.2, it's pretty much like I've seen like segments in the 5K where
There's
there's
nobody
no
there.
one in front of me that I can see, and there's no one behind me that I can see because like it's got like that elastic stretchiness. But if you're running in like C, D, E, F,
No, it's a mob scene. I
it's
usually
just a mob
I'm A for the 5 and 10, and I was traditionally B, but I think I popped up now. Excuse me one second. I'm gonna
Yeah,
take a tomato out.
I know a lot of people who don't like the 5K at Disney because of this, right? They're like, nah, it's too short, too many people. They don't give a lot of time between waves. They do release in waves. I think A and B are like 2 waves in the last couple years, and then C, D, E are like 3 or more waves.
Well, I
But
know
still,
last year the E hadn't started when we were all done. I mean, you were way behind, but I was pretty. I was A, and they hadn't
yeah,
started.
I think at Wine and Dine, I think I ran like a 21 for the 5K, including stopping at every character, I might add.
I think I could have
I think I
been.
ran, yeah, it was like a 21. I was through the finisher chute, and then I went back by the buses. They were still releasing C. And I went back by the buses for like 30 minutes, kind of cheering on the back of the pack. 'Cause the buses for the 5K, they don't leave until the road is clear
Well,
because they use
when
the
people
same
used to
road.
do the 5K, they'd go back around and walk it and do the characters. Now they've made it so you can't do that anymore. But that's what people used to do. The fast people, they'd run it.
I mean,
The
I mean,
pictures on the second.
I'm not gonna say that I haven't done that.
I would do it had I, well, not if I was doing Dopey, because I'm not doing. I mean that I don't know how you do the parks either. So a lot of people, and you are one of them, crazy people, will do the 5K, 10K half, and go to the parks after. I don't do
Yes.
parks until the marathon day. I go park on marathon day
Well, after the
and Monday.
the after the half, I usually don't do the park. I may go to the park for like an hour. Like if my
So it's still
daughter,
doing the park.
yeah,
It's still going.
last year Addison came with us. So she ran the 5K. We were able to get her a bib. There was some miracles that happened for that, I think. So we got her a bib. She ran. And there's some cute pictures where like I had run ahead to get in line for a character, and you can see the look of disdain on her face where she's like, or more like the look of panic where she's like, Mom, don't go. Yeah. And my husband's like, she was so distraught until she saw that you saved a place in line. And like, yeah,
And
yeah.
what is your step count? Do you remember your highest step? I think marathon day this year, or last year, this year, which is this year. I think I did 70,000 steps that day. Something like absolutely asinine.
Like including the parks or just the marathon?
Well, the marathon's 49.50, right?
Yeah, I think my marathon last year was like 42,000, 40,000. And then I have a long stride length, which is why I get
I think
hurt.
I'm at 47,000. We can look.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was like 70, 80,000 for the day because we did Magic Kingdom, and then we got dinner at Epcot. Or no, we did Epcot, got dinner at Magic Kingdom because I remember because I had scored a seat in the castle for dinner with my daughter. And then I think we closed out Hollywood Studios that night.
No, absolutely not. I would be little kid tired, crying, rubbing my eyes. Eat her, hurry, crying in line.
Well, I had to make it up though because the day before she was at the park with John, without me. I met them for lunch and then left because
So we had to run a marathon the next day.
right. And I think like for this conversation, like that's the thing, like, hey, dopey runners, guess what? All that advice you're seeing online, like be really choosy on what you pick to follow. Um, because if you go to the park the next day, like if you're a new runner or an inexperienced runner at these distances, you have to recover before the start of a race the next day. And I will tell you from experience that lining up at a half marathon or a marathon, still feeling your quads from the day before
And
is really unpleasant. And like those first couple of miles, if you're sore at the start line, and those first couple of miles,
brutal.
they suck. They suck a lot, right? Yeah. Brutal.
So what
Absolutely
would
brutal.
your, like, speaking of like the Run Dizzy forums, all of these people, what would your top three pieces of advice be? And I'm going to think of mine while you're saying yours for these people that are
My top 3 pieces of
yeah, like
advice.
what would if it's a new dopey runner, what would you tell them? Like simple
Okay.
pieces of advice if you're new.
So I was going to say it depends on who we're talking to.
Well,
But
those
yeah,
forums are mostly new people trying to figure it out or navigate.
quite a bit of it is. So if this is your first dopey or goofy or challenge, right? If it's not marathon weekend and you are not an experienced marathoner, I will say experience is you've done at least a few. Take it easy. I think the conventional knowledge right now is that I see passed around a lot is walk the 5K, 10K and half and then do whatever you need to do on the full. It's not wrong, but it's a little naive, right? Walking can be harder than running.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe set a pace instead of walking it, right? That would be my advice. So if you run we're just
Yeah.
going to say you run a 24-minute, just because that's a good average pace, normal 5K, make it a 28-minute or a 30-minute stop for character.
Yeah, exactly. The key is, don't push yourself, but you also like realize that if you're walking even walking 3 miles,
You're
like
not the
walking
whole
3 miles,
time.
that's a lot of walking. It's a lot of steps. Yeah, okay, so the 5K
5 more
doesn't.
minutes to
Yeah,
walk.
they don't like in theory they don't sweep. I
What is
guess
the
if you
cutoff for the 5K?
it really isn't.
They could be out there all day.
Well, so what I've heard consistently over the last decade is on the 5K. Now, keep in mind, like the last starter is over the start line at like 6 a.m. That as long as you're moving, you're probably not going to get swept. But I'm sure that, like, if we're sitting here at when they're trying to get the park open and you're still out there at like mile 2, that you probably are going to get swept.
You're gonna get swept.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you remember the standard is 16 minutes per mile.
80-minute
It,
cutoff, they said. So there is a cutoff, 80-minute total.
yeah.
80 minutes for a 5.
Yeah, I've never
It's an
actually
hour
heard of
and
someone
20
getting
minutes.
swept on the 5K, but hey. So, focus on recovering.
Do you have a recovery drink that you like more? I mean, like, what do you drink on your recovery days?
So, I bring for Dopey and only for Dopey, I bring with me a foam roller, my compression pants, Normatec, Therabody,
Yeah,
generic brand you bought off Amazon, doesn't really
that's what I
matter.
have it on Third Baller.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I have the this device from Roll Recovery called it's the R8. It's like one of my friends described it as a claw. It basically clamps your leg between two rollers, and it is I love them.
They're like
I, t-
this.
I told the guy who makes them that he needs to offer one with stronger springs, and he's like, and this is how I know the triathletes.
And speed skaters.
Before I told him, I was like, I think I don't know. My husband's like, yep, yep. So, but anyways, that one's excellent for like working out your IT band, which, most knee pain is probably coming from your IT band.
Yeah, I mean, it makes
And
sense.
yeah, a lot of the races, I mean, one of the big complaints that I've seen people have about Disney races, the so-called hills of Disney and the, the crowning of the roads. Because, when it rains, a lot of water comes down all at once. So the roads are pretty steeply crowned, which means even on the flat roads, your left and your right leg are not getting the same stride.
Oh, and that's what kills me, by the way. Those are what I have to like go to here, to here, to here, because those on ramps will destroy you. I mean, they will literally they break my soul a little bit. The on
Yeah.
ramps.
So the on ramps. Now remember, you do see a lot of people claiming that the courses are mismarked. They're not. These are certified courses. They are not mismarked. The
They're
marathon the
yeah,
marathon is 26.2 miles, and if you go out and measure the perfect line between them, it's probably 26.25 miles.
period. But to do that, you need to run the perfect line. And the perfect line is not
Just
taking
a marathon.
right. It is not taking the outside of the on-ramps. The difference between running, and remember, like, these are long on-ramps, right? They're not short.
No.
These are on-ramps that are designed for like 60-mile-an-hour speeds, right? They're long. So if you're running the inside line, the white line on the left, if you're making a left turn, the difference between that and running the outside white line could be a tenth to a quarter mile.
And you do that. How many? There's like 6 on-ramps for the marathon, right?
There's, I mean, it depends on the year.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
there's at least 4, right? So
I can think of one that one where you come around, they've got the girls in the van on the left, and then you come up and
yes,
go over, you can see everybody down below.
yep. I like that one.
Brutal.
But some of those, like if you run the outside line, you could easily be adding half a mile to a mile to your marathon time. So yeah.
You know, interestingly enough, and I'm going to digress for a second, at New York City, which was my PR, it was my first big marathon. It was, I mean, like last year. I stopped my watch thinking, I know I've run more than 26.2, and it did not count on Strava. It doesn't show as I did a marathon. It's 26.18.
And this is why people run circles in parking lots after races.
That's what happened to me. I'm like, are you joking me? So this no longer shows up as my marathon, my PR marathon, might I add. So I'm getting to do it this year.
Yeah. And, so I think one of the pieces of advice is like, as much as you can, run the
line.
run the measured line, which means you're running straight through as much as you can. You're running straight through S turns. And
but then characters, pivot off to go to character.
Well, yeah. And, I was looking at Wine and Dine. So Wine and Dine, I did something I don't usually do because, it was literally a week after, another race. So I went and I did every single character. And like most of them had like 1 to 2 people in line. But I took a look at my watch and I was trying to figure out like how much extra distance did going to characters add. It was about half a mile on the half marathon.
You have to get in line and you run along the street and you have to come back out. I mean, it's 23 minimum.
Well, and that one went through Hollywood Studios and, it had The Mandalorian off to the side, but like it was almost a tenth of a mile that you had to run out of your way for The Mandalorian on his own. So yeah, going to characters definitely adds. But yeah, run the tangents. If you've got an S curve in front of you, and we see them more than we realize, right? So like think about it. That path that goes between Hollywood Studios and Epcot, you're going to run that at least twice on this race, right? That path on its own has like 2 S curves. So if you're running on the right-hand side, you're like running this squiggly line. But if you're like watching
the whole time
and you just like draw like an imaginary straight line, you can run straight through those without turning at all. Now, if you're in the back and like that one's hard to do because if you're in back corral, it gets super, super crowded. So it is what it is. Yeah. But if you're in like A, B, maybe
you're still dodging people up at the front because you've got to get out in front of people. I know being a B corral, front of B corral person, back of A, I'm dodging people for 3 miles.
Yeah.
So you get to the first big band and where the first bathrooms are, right?
Yeah. And I think number 3 is, run your own race. And I say that like we can say that on every race, but the reason why I say this on Disney races is like you hear a lot of people say, well, you don't PR at Disney races. And the fact of the matter is you can. On the Wine and Dine recap, we had someone on who, he ran a 2-hour half marathon starting with the balloon ladies. Like it can be done. You can run.
Our friend Rachel, she did Dopey this year, and PR'd her marathon sub 4 at Dopey, might I add.
Right.
Sub 4 marathon at Dopey PR.
Yeah. So, and, I've PR'd at many Disney races. And like one of the things I love about the Disney courses is as a runner, they're easy courses. There's not a lot of elevation. There's a fair amount of straightaways. Now, lately, they've changed a lot of the courses to add more park time because there's been complaints that there's not enough park time. It's like, well, there's only so much park, right? The problem with that is now the courses have become more technical.
Especially even in
Yeah, like Magic Kingdom. You used to go in the front. Now they've reversed it because of the construction, but you used to go in, the main entrance, run straight down Main Street, and you do this big sweeping curve, through Tomorrowland, down to Tomorrowland, through Tomorrowland, and then Fantasyland, through the castle, and then another basically straight shot out through Frontierland.
this year we went down behind Space Mountain, didn't we?
Well, the marathon used to exit or come in that same place, right? That we exited.
The way, don't ask me the course. Rachel asked me if I remembered being in Hollywood Studios. I'm like, I didn't run through Hollywood.
And if you did the marathon, you did. But at Hollywood Studios, you only get a short stretch. But no, now the course has a lot more twists and turns because it's there's like an extra quarter mile in the park versus what it used to be. No, the marathon, I looked at the courses. They're the same as last year.
I like the course from what I remember.
Well, I do too. But I was surprised because Dino Land is closed. Is gone. So we're going to be running through the construction zone in Dino Land.
Do we know what that is now? What Dino Land's going to be?
Isn't that no?
I didn't.
I did know. Oh, is that Zootopia?
Zootopia.
Yeah. And then where the dinosaur ride is, that's going to be Indiana Jones.
It's essentially the same. It's just Indiana Jones, right? I mean,
the Indiana Jones ride is the same with a different track and theming. So
what about, okay, so running your
those
own
are
race.
my 3 things. What's your 3 things?
Absolutely. If you're there to have fun, ride the roller coaster. First and foremost, there is no other marathon.
You're one of those people.
Ride a roller coaster and get your picture taken fast track onto a coaster. If you're stuck.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I will say, stop your watch when you.
Yeah.
And you remember, your clock time doesn't stop just because you stop your watch, or pause your watch, I should say.
Yeah.
I do find it exciting because if you don't, here's what's going to happen. You're going to upload that sucker to Strava, and then Strava is going to automatically flag you for being in a vehicle because it sees you going from 5 to 7 miles an hour or slower to doing 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and it's going to flag you and say, no, you were in a car.
What's funny is I tripped getting on my first year doing Dopey or my second year doing Dopey. I tripped getting on the roller coaster and completely broke my toenail off and had to finish the race with a broken toe and nail. I mean, it was awful. It was excruciating. Because that's what? Much mile 19, 17, 19?
For Hollywood Studios?
No, for it's Animal Kingdom. We're riding
Animal Kingdom? No. Is it that far in? Yeah, I guess it's there. Yeah, because
Everest. We're riding Everest.
Blizzard Beach is mile 20 and a half.
Which is the most horrible experience.
It's
Blizzard Beach, you come into that parking lot and it's like, I can't do it again.
I know.
Blizzard Beach parking lot.
Although, doing it at Wine and Dine in reverse kind of changed.
You have to Wine and Dine, right?
Was that?
You only do half of the.
Yeah. You do like half or 2/3 of it. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I have some horrible memories from that stretch. Either because it's super hot and towards the end, it's either it's super hot and you've got the heat of the sun and the day and the heat of the asphalt reflecting up at you, or my favorite is it's like Magic Kingdom. They don't know how to drain water at Disney, I don't think, and it's like a little bit of a swimming pool.
Well, then everybody is just passing each other in this giant empty parking lot. Like, Sarah, have a 10. Yeah. It's just.
But my least favorite part of it is you get in there and you see that. So you run in the entranceway and you make that first right and it's straight and you see the table. And you're like, yes, water. And it's not. It's jelly beans.
jelly beans. I choked on them. I was on all fours trying to get those jelly beans out. I'll never eat another sport bean as long as I'm alive.
Yeah, I never understood jelly beans while you're running for that exact reason. And it's not for like, yeah, it's like always such a disappointment when you see the nutrition table and thinking in your head it's water, and it turns out they're handing out jelly beans.
Or how about when
And
you're
I'm
on the
like,
back end, they're
really?
giving you those little pieces of, I think it's Dove chocolate. And I'm like, at that juncture, please no solids.
See, like coming up that
Yeah, and I'm like,
coming up that ramp in Phantasmic,
yeah,
and they give you at the top of the ramp the piece of candy before you kind
the
of
Dove. Yeah.
head into into
Then there's no
Hollywood
water.
Studios. See, I love that. Like, I always grab a piece of, like, usually it's leftover Halloween candy, right? I usually grab like whatever. Although last year I didn't grab one because it wasn't candy. You remember it was the Budoko toast things,
Oh my gosh.
and I was like, I don't know how you can eat that while you're running.
No,
But
what would have choked me
anyway,
out?
yeah, I think that brings up a point though, like nutrition and hydration. Most courses, I would say, don't rely on course. The ones that you can consistently, right, are majors.
Majors.
Ironman branded races are really good with staying on top of that. Disney,
Now that they're getting rid of mortal, people will be able to actually eat the
I was so excited to see the precision announcement for North America. But anyways, and then Disney, right? I usually put Disney in the courses that you can consistently rely on, but there's a caveat. They have been known on hotter days to run out of water.
I haven't been there, but I haven't been, luckily not on course long enough that has happened to me.
Yeah, me either. Every race, every marathon weekend where the temperatures are high, you hear the stories of they ran out of water for the back of the packers. And so, like, if you're expecting to finish with the balloon ladies, maybe then consider bringing some of your own.
I brought my own the first.
Don't go overboard either, because like rely on it where they have it, and then have your backup system. I've seen folks running with like full on hydration vests.
I ran with a hydration pack my first year, but it was a 6-hour marathon for me that first year.
Yeah, and I get that it's like the nerves, but if you're running with a hydration pack, that's an extra 3 to 5 pounds that you're carrying around that you probably don't need to.
But you train with it.
But you train with it, hopefully. See, I don't train with a hydration pack.
I do for my love, but I live in Florida. I have to.
Yeah, that's different. See, most of my runs that are that long, either I have someone following me in a bike supporting me,
John,
or
shout out to John.
Usually John, or I'm doing a loop where I can go back to my car to pick up my water bottle. Yeah. Okay. And then
go ahead.
And then so poor Greg, he is a recurring theme on this podcast. So Greg is one of my Run Disney family. I love him dearly, but he doesn't have any nutrition on the run course at all. So every coach out there is going to tell you got to introduce nutrition, like whatever works for you. So I sent him a sampler pack from the feed of like a little bit of everything. And I'm like, your job over the next 3 weeks is to pick something from this bouquet of gels that I sent you and get your gut used to it so that, on the marathon, you're at least putting something in you. And that's the thing. It's like, yeah, can you survive without supplemental nutrition? Well, if you didn't train with nutrition, then yeah, you can.
Of course. I couldn't. I mean, I have to take anything over 5 miles. I have to take a gel with me.
Yeah. The question is like, if you are operating at a high aerobic intensity, you are burning through X number of calories an hour. And the number of calories depends on like age, weight, gender, what your output is, blah, blah, blah. But I hate to break it to you. The heavier you are, the more calories you tend to be burning over the course of your marathon. You got to be putting stuff back in you or you run out.
And there's turns out bulking day 4 at Disney.
Right. And like conventional wisdom is anything over an hour, you should be adding some supplemental nutrition into.
We have a friend, and I'm not going to call her out, Angel, on this podcast.
No.
No. She did a whole Ironman, by the way, 1 bottle of nutrition. The whole time. She just made it concentrated and sipped the whole thing, 1 bottle. And she did like an 11-hour Ironman.
Well, I mean, if she's in an 11-hour Ironman, so she probably needs in that 11-hour Ironman about 2,000 to 3,000 calories of nutrition.
1 bottle.
Well, hey, if it's super
I mean,
concentrated.
but she did it, right? I doubt she'd do it again, but so. One more piece of advice I'd want to give them before we continue this here is pick one of the races and run one of them. Like run it. Have fun and kind of make it a race for you, and then slow roll the other one. Right? I mean, don't do the 5 or 10K, but pick the marathon or the half
Yeah,
marathon.
but slow roll is at like a zone 2 pace, is not walking.
No, it's Z2. It's right. Like if you're a 24-hour 5K or 24-minute, 5K.
I hope no one's 24 hours.
You're literally on your hands and knees or rolling. You make it a 28 to 30 minute. I do mine. I do a 29. I usually try and run a 29-minute to 30-minute. You usually go a little fast. Then my 10K, I try and do between 55 and an hour. And then, and that's with characters. I don't do characters at the front of them. I do characters later. Also, another piece of advice would be don't stop at the first characters. Get a little bit farther in your race before you start stopping for characters. You're not going to wait as long, right? Get ahead of the crowds.
Yeah, the characters are funny.
Unless it's when you have to have.
Yeah. So I usually save one race. And I'm like, I pick one race to do the characters on. And it's usually the half marathon. But I almost never stop at the first character.
Never.
Sometimes not even the first 2.
For me.
Yeah, unless it's someone I haven't seen before or that I really want. Because everyone stops at the first character.
And you got a 30-minute line. Well, you're done.
Yeah. So, you go past that first character. Maybe you go past the first 2 or 3. Once you've got past those first couple, the lines get a lot shorter. Because people start realizing the impact that it has on their time, or they're tired of waiting in lines, or they've lost interest. And by the time you've crossed, like in the marathon especially, by the time you've crossed the halfway mark, even if you're in the later corrals, those characters are not going to have a line. I remember a couple of years ago. Actually, I think this is my first Dopey. I think I started in like corral C. I didn't have perfect time quite yet. And that stretch between Hollywood Studios and Blizzard Beach, this is actually why I remember it. I was running next to the Captain Jack Sparrow.
And
the is fantastic. He is fabulous.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. My son, every time he sees him, he's like, I need a picture with him. He was actually
He's not drunk the entire weekend with the amount of shots people are feeding him.
I know, right? Well, anyways, Buzz Lightyear this must have been like 2021, maybe. Buzz Lightyear, it had to be earlier than that. Buzz Lightyear was on the highway in that stretch, like, where the bridge is before you start heading down towards the Blizzard Beach area. And it was like so freaking hot. I think this might have been the year that they shortened the marathon course. It was so freaking hot. And Buzz was standing there all by himself, with no one in line.
So funny.
Now, he was the only character on that marathon I actually stopped for, because he was there all by himself, and I felt a need to go over and give him company and get some picture taken while I was
this year.
Yes. Huh?
There was a goat out there, like a real goat, on the marathon this year. I also do the picture of me with the goat. I'm like, why is there a goat?
Goat.
I'll take the picture.
Was that in Animal Kingdom?
I don't remember. I could not tell you where I ran. Literally, I have no clue where I went.
In Animal Kingdom, after you...
The road.
Because you're backstage, you run past the water treatment plant, which you could taste this year. The wind was blowing.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
But then you run in, and we run past the like petting zoo area, because the train the train tracks are on our left, and on the other side of the train tracks
I don't know.
Petting zoo. Yeah. Okay. But then we kind of run between the petting zoo area and the Kilimanjaro safari area going in there. I don't know, that's actually one of my favorite areas because you got like the train and the backstage, veterinary area for the elephants is
Well,
right
and the
there.
rhinos, because I know that's for the rhinos, where I stopped to
Right. No,
stretch and I
okay.
saw the rhinos. I was like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, that's cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
that is cool. What about the long stretch that had Chewy this year? And it was like all misty when I ran. How cool was that? Like this, if
Oh,
you are not a Disney runner, people need to do one Disney race. If you're a
see,
runner, you gotta do
I
one.
love that they do that because the last time I saw them do that was Wine and Dine 21, right after COVID. That was the last Disney race I've ran where the start line was not in Epcot.
Really? Where was it?
Yeah. So the 5K was the same 5K we always run, in Epcot with the same start line in the same place. Was at the Rocket parking lot now.
Yep, it is.
But the 10K and the half marathon both started in the TTC.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you know where the gas station is? So and like on the opposites, the gas station's on the other side of the highway. And there used to be like that pond there with the big flume of water coming up. I remember that start because the wind was blowing and we all got sopping wet
Water.
from that like 20-foot tall fountain. But yeah, the half marathon started at TTC, went down that road. It basically was the second half of the Disney marathon. It went down that road, except that was villain themed. So it was all misty and dark with the lights, the red and the purple lights, and I forget who, it might have been Cruella was back there.
She was my
One of the villains was back
yeah.
there. And like, yeah, they had this year they had like Vader and Chewie and some of the other guys
They had them
there.
all back there. They had the
I'm like,
Mandalorian.
that's really cool when they got like the smoke machines going. That is one thing, like the slower runners don't get the full
some.
effect because for the faster runners it's dark when you go through there. And when that's in the dark with the lights and everything, it's really impressive.
That was actually
Yes.
that is one of the stretches that I remember. I remember the water treatment plant.
Well, yeah. Oh, I felt so bad. They had they had Ray right by the water treatment plant, right before you entered the backstage for Animal Kingdom.
She was right by the goat, by the way. So wherever Ray was, the goat was right next to
Okay,
her.
I know where you're talking. Yeah. I think
Because
I
I
may
got the
have.
picture with Ray and the gal from the Mandalorian.
Yes. Well, so if you're running Dopey or the marathon, that is something to be prepared for. There's this stretch of road that only at least in the last 5 years, has only been on the marathon, and that's the stretch we're talking about. It's a 1 lane each direction stretch. So it's but we have the full highway, we have the full road, both lanes. So it's not super wide, but it's also not super congested at that point because this is
There's
what
characters on both sides.
yeah, and this is for the marathon this year. This is like mile 14, 15, 16, that area. It's before it's between TTC and the backstage entrance to Animal Kingdom. But the Disney water treatment plant is there, and depending on the direction of the wind, usually it's fine. Usually the wind is to your back, but if you're running into the wind, you're gonna taste that.
It was good this year.
It was pretty bad. It was pretty foul. That was my least favorite part, was like running past, because they don't usually have it running, but they had the misters going. And it just like aerosolizes all of that.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Especially when you're mile like 17.
Yeah. Like, it was fantastic. But possibly the best part of the marathon is exiting backstage Animal Kingdom. You run behind Everest, and just after you run behind Everest, you get treated to your banana.
And those are like life-altering bananas.
At that point, they are.
Yeah, I grab one. There's 2 sections. I'm like, I grab half at each section.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Do you eat the whole banana, or do you take a bite and toss?
I do. I break, eat it, and then I try not to die, and then usually toss the second. But I grab another one at the next section and do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I get half a banana.
Yeah. So this is one of the things I've seen people complain about. Sometimes they run out of bananas, and if you're in the back of the pack, you may not get a banana. And I've seen like all sorts of, very angry responses, including like, you front runners, it's a travesty. I see all these bananas on the side of the road that have one bite taken out of
We
them.
need to find other things to worry about. That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
but this one of my complaints with the banana section is like they give you the whole banana. No other race gives you the whole banana mid race. They cut them in half or in thirds or in quarters. Because I'm sorry, but if I even attempted to eat that whole banana at that point, I'm probably puking.
Yeah. Well, that's what. So I tear off a piece and grab another one later. So I am the bane of these corral e runner existence. Sorry.
Right.
Maybe we need to write a letter to Disney and telling them they need to cut bananas in half.
Well, and that comes back to like what we were talking about earlier. It's like if you're in the front 2/3 of the race, like personally, I would just rely on course hydration, the on course banana, which is around mile 16. And it's actually like right before the 35K mark. Then
They have good gels on. They have good stuff except for the jelly beans. All the nutrition's good.
well, and it depends on who's sponsoring it, because sometimes it's not the sport beans, sometimes it's the honey stinger waffles that they hand out, which I think the honey stingers, I mean, they're not as sweet, and they
You're not gonna choke on them.
probably aren't going to choke you to death as easily. But I mean, nothing new on race day applies. So if you're not used to sport beans, if you didn't train with them, don't use them. Bring your own, whatever it is that you use. I like if you gels, which I think most people are. I like the flasks. Have you used those?
These were the precision. Is that what you're talking about? The
Well,
big pouches.
Precision makes the flask. Martin does
It's
the
the
feed.
3 gels in one, right? With the cap.
Feed cells.
I have
Well,
one.
there's different size. Yeah, I have. I don't think I have any like right here, but actually I do. It'd be like a small version of this.
Oh, I have those. No, I have here. I mean, I can grab. Can we? I mean, let me grab one of the nutrition flasks.
Yeah, and the feed makes like little handheld ones.
These are different than I think what we're talking about. I'm talking about these are nutrition. They're actual gels, 3 in 1 with a twist top instead of just individual gels. Have you
Yeah,
used
Precision makes those.
those? Those are beautiful.
So I use those.
On the bike.
Which
Yeah. I can't. The race day, I can't judge how much I'm getting.
So on the bike, I use the Precision Flow Gel, and I started using that this year, which I really like it. But I also in the
Precision
past,
makes a bad product.
I was that.
They don't make a bad product. Precision is incredible.
Oh, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Like the little handheld flasks that hold like 4 Martin gels, 4 or 5 goo gels. Like I think they're great, and they're cheap. They're only like $3 or $4 for the flask. So if it falls out of your pocket, or if you end up tossing it, at an aid station, it's not the end of the world.
You'll have to send me those because
yeah, and like they have a lot of them. When you open the top, it's not like the normal like water bottle top that like
a flip
these have.
Yeah,
it's a flip top with a bigger opening that better fits like the more
texture,
the thicker. So you've had a Martin. Yeah,
don't get me.
I like them because it's less to carry with you, right? So instead of carrying like, I don't know, on a full marathon, and
tossing the gel packs, you get lighter as you go through the race. That's kind of part of the fun for me.
If I'm carrying individual gels, I like to know how many I actually consumed during the race, so I tend to shove the wrappers.
Oh no! Well, I mean, I count how many I have, and then I know how many I don't leave with, right?
Well, I don't know if I like. I may or may not have on more than one occasion lost gels out of my back pocket at the toilet before.
I think we're all guilty of that. I almost lost my phone.
Yeah. So I shove the empty gel wrappers down my after the race, it's like 1, 2, 3, pulling them out, and everybody around me is like, "What is wrong with her?" I'm like, I want to know how much was again. Yeah, but it's a convenient pocket.
Betty bras have that great pocket in the front now too, by the way. The new running bra.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that. So anyways, yeah, I think that once on the Disney marathon, like make sure you have a nutrition plan because there really is not a lot of nutrition on the course. I think you get sport beans like twice, one piece of candy usually, and a banana.
But there are gels at other. Is it goo gel? Why am I thinking it's goos that they
No,
offer?
no, Disney doesn't have gels on course. Yeah. You might be thinking of the Space Coast race
Maybe.
because they do.
It'll just tell you, like, I black out, apparently. You, like, have no idea what happens during race day. I couldn't
Although,
even tell you what I've seen.
even if they had goo, I wouldn't use it.
I mean, at some point, which they have it, the marathons, they use the cyst gels, which I love.
Mm.
And NYRR, I mean, I don't race with them normally or train with them, but I can grab one and I don't screw up my stomach. So,
Yeah, I think I've used those, and I don't think they make them anymore. The Philly Marathon used to have the Gatorade gels.
Betty was sponsored by Gatorade years ago, and I was throwing up on my bike over and over and over, and I didn't know because I was new to triathlon. I was new to everything. So I thought maybe it was aero position. Then I realized it's this Gatorade endurance that's just killing me.
The Gatorade endurance. Yeah, well, and that's. I had this conversation with one of my athletes recently. So she's going to run Dopey with a hydration pack.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I ran the
her,
Paris Marathon this year with a hydration pack.
yeah, for her, it's comfort. She's going to run with Tailwind. It's not my favorite product, but it works for her. And the thing we talked about was she's also using chews. She has a hard time keeping gels down, just like a texture thing.
Chew and run.
So, well, it works for her. So and that's the thing. Like this is all very individual, right? So it works for her. So the thing that we were talking about is, to your point, you know, if she takes in the nutrition through those chews at the target level, she's going to be hopefully puking. But if not, puking is coming out the other end, right? Because Tailwind is like 200, it's like 200 calories.
Yeah, it's a carb pro. It's like super high carbs, right?
Right, exactly. And so we were going through the math. We're like, okay, well, for her target is around kg an hour, which is pretty normal for a marathon, for a runner. So it's around 70 an hour. And we're like, okay, well, with that Tailwind, if she's drinking 20 ounces an hour, then she really only needs like one serving of those scratch chews an hour, because any more than that's going to put her in like more like the 90 to 100 range. And if you're on the run taking in 100,
on the run with the run,
you're going to be on the run with the runs. Yeah. Versus like if you're on the bike, like it's a different story.
Anyway, well, I'm excited to see you out there. Again, I feel like this is the only time we get to see each other is Disney races.
I know. And Haines City, neither one of us went this year. I usually use that as my capstone for the year. And this year I was like, I was protecting the hamstring.
Good. I'm glad. I wanted to fight for you at one and done, but you don't need another mother.
So anyways. So if you are running marathon weekend, I hope this was interesting and useful. I know we kind of covered a bunch of different stuff, but if you are at marathon weekend and you see me, I'm usually hard to miss. I will have my pink hair back for then. I have an appointment to have the pink put back in the day before we go down to Florida.
I run in 2 pigtails right here. Every race, pigtails, you can't miss it. So.
See, I also run with pigtails. I find it to be the easiest to manage with long hair. Yeah, so if you see me, wave, say hi, introduce yourself. I'd love to. It was funny. We were in, I may have told this story before. We were in Marbella waiting in line to get a coffee that the barista didn't want to make me because I asked her for 5 shots. Basically, I wanted her to fill that cup with espresso.
You don't like.
Yeah, she looked around and she's like, she looked at my husband for confirmation. And I'm like, really? And he's like, do what she says.
Yeah. Fast.
He's like, my life depends on it. But yeah, we were waiting in line and someone, I was talking to John and a couple of people up, it's like, is that the Try Mom? I recognize your voice.
That's
And it was this dude. He's like, my wife listens to you. And I was like, that's awesome. I love that. So like, introduce yourself.
yeah, come up, follow us
Yeah.
on social media. I'm happy to answer questions about anything. Tiff loves to try. TRI is my Instagram handle. I'm on all the Disney platforms. I'm happy to be a source of information and hopefully inspiration because, it's what we do.
Yeah. So more follows. And I will include all those links in the description as well. So one last thing is the Be Fierce Multisport, the company that I own, is starting to do virtual online group cycling, which is pretty awesome. I think this is our first week with like a regular schedule. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday looks like the schedule we're settling in on. There is a form on Google that is fierce.ly. I'm sorry, it's a fierce.li/cycling. So that points to that form. Fill it out and it will automatically create an account for you and you'll get all sorts of emails telling you how to log in. And I look forward to seeing all sorts of faces show up on there. And I'm going to cut that off at the first 250 people to sign up, and it will be free for you for the first 60 days. And then you'll have a founder discount for the rest of the year. So it should be
I'm
pretty
excited
cool.
to come try.
Yeah. So you got to sign up now.
I'm going to be number 2.
Yeah. Fierce.li. Get it? Fiercely.
Yeah.
I tried .li and they're like, no. So it's fierce.li/cycling.
I will come check it out.
All right. And with that, thank you very much for sticking around and listening. I hope this was useful. Thank you, Tiff, for coming on. I know you were nervous to start with, but you did just fine. And, definitely follow us, like, subscribe, and if you're on YouTube, click that like button.
Hi, Morgan Freeman here. I want to talk to you about a serious, rare heart condition called ATTR cardiac amyloidosis, or ATTR-CM. Now, I don't have the condition myself, but if you're living with ATTR-CM, it's important to know about treatment options like Attruby, also known as acoramidis, because you have the power of choice when it comes to treatment. Attruby is an old medicine used to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization due to heart issues. Tell your doctor if you're pregnant, plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding, and about the medications you take. The most common side effects were mild and included diarrhea and abdominal pain. If you have ATTR-CM, talk to your cardiologist about Attruby or visit attruby.com. That's attruby.com to learn more. It's time to get busy living.